Good morning, people. I'm pretty much excited to introduce you all guys to a new concept of Node.js, and I would be pretty much excited to welcome you guys to my channel, this Dixit Dex Code. And so today's video is like we would be creating an API setup for using Node.js and Express, so that you guys can do a follow up on the same, and it would be much more convenient for you guys to have a better understanding like how we start with the Node.js product. And today I'm writing an API backend for a person, not a personal but a community application, and we are just starting with the initial phase. So today is the initial version, so I would be writing like few documentation, readme files, update, and all of the basic thing. And so let's jump into my screen and let me give you an update. Okay, so the screen would be available like in a second. Yep, the screen is available, and let's start with the same. So this is the complete basic API. So I'm just starting with the scratch thing. There is nothing we written, and I know any kind of other branches. Just the same thing, like it is a community called Recro, and this is the part of our community. And the code for the same is already I written some code in the back. Like I'm a developer, so I used to write like the code for the same as well. So let me start with the same thing. Okay, we would be using like the Node version, and so I'm having like definition say Node that's v. I'm using like 18.16.0, which is an LTS version. So it's like much more simpler for us to have a better understanding. So what we can do is like we would be defining like lots of things, starting with our basic thing. Okay, so our basic thing would be like creating like npm I. So node, what is that? npm init. It's npm init or node init? It's npm init. Yep. And so yeah, the project name is that. Okay, it's 1.1 version. Description, the API backend with Node and Express. Because for the database we would be adding like few other things onto the database as well. Yeah, we would be writing some test command as well. So yeah, the Git repository would be the same. Yeah, and like keywords auth. Yeah, yes. Okay, and say yes. So we have got our package.json file ready for us. So we are having our package.json file now. So now we need to add like lots of dependency, like we need to add our engines and all of that stuff. So here we would be using like ES6 modules. So for that, like we would be doing like lots of things. So coming to the first point, like let us start with the index file. So I like to write like say touch index.js. So it would be adding the index file. Coming to the dependency, the basic dependency which we require are like npm I, or you can write like yarn. I like yarn add express uh, express say course. I'm having a sample one, so I would be using that one because like it's pretty much difficult to remember like all of the dependencies which would be used. So coming to that one, express course. So then there is Lodash. I keep these libraries for if it's not used, like it's good enough. Then helmet, and we have Morgan. So Morgan is like the library which I like to use, because like to check API response and request cycle, like if it is going right or wrong, and it would be giving me an output. So for that Morgan, then we have debug. Debugs. The debug is a library which I would be using, and then we have yeah, helmet, course, debug. We would be in need of config. Yeah, config, then we would be, yeah, these are the basic libraries which we would be need, and if there would be any other libraries, we would be adding those libraries as well. And for this, for the dev library, dev dependencies, we would be in need of dev dependencies as well. So yarn add d, caps d stand for the dev dependency, like cross dash env dot env. Then we have nodeman prettier, and yeah, and we have like, we would be in need of ESLint, and I think so we would be, yeah, we would be really need of ESLint, but we would be adding in a different way, because I would need to also do a little bit of research for the ESLint. So yeah, so these are the basic things which we added. Now we need to define our engines, because here, so let's come with the engine. So I'm like copying the stuff from older library where I've used engines, and this is like defining the engine so that we can have like what node version we would be using, not npm version we would be using, and what is the yarn version. So see, node dash v is like 18.16, 18.16, so we would be writing like 16, and sorry for that, 18, and say npm dash v is 9.5.1, 9.5.1, and say yarn dash version, like it's 12.1.22.19. That's fine. Now we need to define like yeah, it's, what is it, like it would be a module, yeah, it would be type would be module. We would be having like license, yeah, license is defined, and we are having our licenses as well. Yeah, we have MIT license, so here it's like MIT, and description we have already given, like, yep, that's it. Like we need to move the script file. I don't like to add the script at the top, because it would be much more convenient to add the scripts at the bottom. Yeah, and say, so what do we need? Like now we need to have our dev environment, and let us start coding with the same. So control P and index file. So what we need to add, like yeah, we need to do for ESLint. So what we did, so for ESLint I need to do ESLint settings, so configuration of ESLint. So ESLint, so how do we get started? We get started with ESLint config. So npm ESLint config semiconductor. So say we need to do yarn ESLint. So for ESLint, so guys, I would be in need of something. npm es install self-dev ESLint touch. Yeah, that is it. But npx ESLint directory project integration advanced configuration ESLint. Yeah, pretty much sure. Like we can write it by that way as well. So I like to do lots of things. So touch dot prettier rc dot yes length rc node1 dot json. Yeah, that's it. So these are the basic files which we would be in need of. So these are the things which I really do. Okay. So in the initial phase, like my ESLint, my prettier would be like this thing. Okay, my ESLint would be something like this. So how would I generate my ESLint? Hmm. 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 I'm having a little bit of confusion on the ESLint, so I need to do a little bit of research. Sorry, guys. I'm stuck with something. I'm thinking of something, and I'm not able to do ESLint configuration. So bear me with that, like because I've done a few times, and I really miss ESLint configuration. And so according to the documentation, it says you can go with npm init ESLint config. So yeah, that would be adding up like all of the ESLint, but in my point of view, like there is a simple way. So it's npx ESLint or npm yarn ESLint. What would happen with that? ESLint. There was a thing I really missed, like, so giving a pause to this video so that let's yeah, it is by this way. Yeah, you want to install? Yes, I want to install, and it would be installing. Like, oh my bad. Like it would be adding a packet lock file, and yeah, it has added. Not it has not added. Hope something went wrong. Yeah. It is npx to get started nvm init. So the guys initial configuration gives like takes lots of pressure and lots of time. So yeah, now it's like yeah, finding the problem and to check the context, find the problem and enforce the code style, or say check the context and find the problem. Yeah, that's it. So we would be using like import and export combination. Yeah, that we would be using. It's not for React, not for Vue. It's for not for others. Do we use TypeScript? No, we won't be using TypeScript. It is for the Node.js only. And we want a JSON file and say yes. We would be using yarn, and so it would be, yeah. So this was a command which I was missing for a long time. Yeah, it added, see, the JSON file has been added and it is getting like all of the things. Now say I'm removing this trash. Now there is another way to add like other things. Now we need to define like lots of rules. So I have written like rules in the past. So I will be taking like those rules from there itself. And so these are something, yeah, the rules are this one. So these are the rules which I written in the past, and I'm using that one. So we need to add like the node rules. And yeah, it was using module, it is good. Override, we don't need that one. And yes, lint recommendation, that's good. We will not write like anything else. Now see, okay, that's good, that's good. Let's start with our other things. Now we have got our two files we have completed, and now we need to add like some more changes with Node1. So what do you say, guys? Like we should be going with Node1, or yeah, we can go with Node1, or now there is another way we can use like Node, because Node is giving us the watch command, and which is like much more good enough, because the newer version, like the Node 18 version, is giving us the opportunity to write like Node on a watch mode. So we need not to do any kind of say Node1. There is no required of Node1. So I'm removing Node1 as well, like and I need to go and remove yarn, remove Node1. So it would be removing Node1 from our file as well. So you can see like from the dev dependency, the Node1 has been removed. And there would be, yeah, it's removed. And prettier has been added to the wrong place. Prettier should be at, it's a wrong place. So it is heading in a perfect direction. Okay. So we did a mistake, and now we cleaned up our mistake. Okay, and what is this D? D should not be there. It just came up like by mistake, so I removed that one. So there are like lots of packages. If you don't want, you can remove that. So now let's come up with our so we would be having like our src file. So in our src file, we would be doing like all of the things, src folder. So src C, and we would be having a config folder where we would be having like all of the things which would be configured. So say config src, and do we need an initial setup for local? If we are using Docker, then we would be, but in future we would be adding like, so now we are having like two things. So in the config, so we have like default.export. So touch default.json. So I'm writing like default.json, it would be into the config file. Okay, I return it by default. Okay, and over here in the git ignore file, we would be adding up an ignore file. So no need to include the config. Okay, so the config folder won't be getting included into our push, but to keep an example, we would be adding like the config folder, but say JSON is not needed. Yeah, see, our config folder is required, but default.json is not required. Like default.json is the file which would be coming for our help, because it would be having our default configuration. So over here is my default configuration. This is my backend API. I like to write it by this way. It's a development server port 8080 8081. Okay, and language is defined as English. Available local is we can write a secret saying like say node, and what do we need for secret? Like secret crypto. Then how do we generate our so for a crypto, how do we create a crypto by a random number? Crypto dot random byte say 12 characters, 12.2 string HAX hexa, then dot slice 0 to 12. We can take like more, say 24. Yeah, we are getting like a 24 characters. So here, see, each and every time when you generate a thing using this function, it would be giving you that secret key. So I'm like able to get like 2 secret key, and this secret key can be defined over here by using these functions. So I'm using that one. So see, I created like right now we are not having like any kind of Mongo, okay, Mongo URL or any kind of database URL. So it's not included. We would be including that in a near future. So yeah, so that is it. Like now we are having this basic setup is done. Now we need to add our source file, src file, and we need to have our app config and app file. So touch src app appconfig.json and src app.js file. So these two files are important for us, because in our app file, like we would be having like all of the things, and at the app config we would be taking like the configuration which are coming from our default file, saying like in the local we are using this way, but at the higher environment we would be using like say the env file. For that point we can use this way. So let me copy the things for the app config. For the app config, like it's a simple, see, you can see like it would be giving me. So here there is a problem with my ESLint, or yeah, it is with the ESLint. So it would be saying like, okay, you are going on a wrong direction. So it should be 2 tab or 1 tab. See, it's having 2 tab width is 2. So if I give a tab width of 1, then it won't be showing the error. and in our prettier say it is having like one tab, or we can do it over here saying like it should be having 2 tabs, and here we can have like 2 tabs. So format width, yep. So what do we need? We need our this file available local language, default language, project root, algorithm, because we would be writing like encryption. We need the encryption key with the session key. We are not defined like the encryption key because there would be an encryption key as well. So encryption key can be defined over here. So encryption key can be, say, this one can be an encryption key. This is a Node.js built-in functionalities which I'm using for now. So whitelist would be for the course environment, would be for the node environment which you would be using, and yeah, that's it guys. So now coming to other point, so we have like our app.js file. So let us go to the app.js file. Like what do we need into our app.js file? Okay, we have like our app.js file, and so basically to start like our app.js file, okay, so we would be in need of the express, say const f is equal to express import from express. So express has been import and express has been used. Export default would be app, because we would be in need of app at our index file, so that it would be used over here. Where is our index file? So index file is over here at the index file. What do we need? So index file we would be importing b src/index, and so there is one thing which we have to remember at every point. It would be .js, because we have to define our JS file, otherwise like it would be giving us lots of error, and we want import src/app.js, and we have app config because it has been exported, and then we are having like, we need to define something like we need to use debugger. We how we would be using debugger, it's like a very important thing. So amp debug and bug. Yeah, that's it. And do we need anything? No, we don't need anything. So const index debug, because this is the library which we would be getting so this is like how I like to define, like if there is any error, like I would be able to get. So yep, this is if statement, and I like to use if statement because this is the file which would be getting called and it would be used. So const like I would be doing the destructure of app config, because app config would be sending me port port so we first thing first, app.listen listen, and that would be like port, and it would be having a return function which would be giving us try catch block, try try catch block, and AR would be index debug, uh, and localhost. So this is how like I like to define. I think so there is some kind of issue with my ESLint. It is saying like, okay, so my prettier is giving trouble to my ESLint. So what should we use, like prettier or ESLint? It's a basic questions. So if I remove the tab with so the problem is over here. Max length, we are defining like a single and multiple. Might be my system is giving like trouble. Because in my system, like I have given like lots of definitions, and yeah, this is the basic structure of the application. And let's go for like starting in the testing of the first thing, like would it start, what it happened. So when we write like say in the development environment, we would be in need of like lots of things. So this is like the, yeah, so what would happen, npm run dev, would it start, say it's giving us an error, say Node.js 19 fail, what is the problem, say throw error because node, say no trace warning, watch mode is experimental feature and might change anytime, trace warning to try to configuration property Morgan URL is not defined, say, see, it takes like all of the things, and we are not defining something, so it would be giving us trouble. Now our server got started, and see, it just a fraction of time and it started our server. So now you can see like we are not having like any kind of errors, but we need some kind of route to see like health check route, or say the health route, where we would be able to get like definition of like, okay, all of our things are working. But first thing first, I would be stopping the server and giving a push to whatever things we are committed. We are able to see like, okay, the application is starting. So this is like the first branch. So hmm, So you're pushing, we are giving a push, and guys, I would be taking a break and giving another streaming as well. Thank you guys, and thanks for watching. If you liked my this video, then I will be adding with another one. Let's start.